ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. You know how interesting it is for people at immigration to meet a person who is self-realized. Have you been through immigration? Is there anyone who's never experienced immigration? So everyone has been through immigration. Okay. So what happens is the immigration officer would ask you proof of your identity. Who are you? And a self-realized person, if asked, who are you? And the self-realized person would be, the answer that the self-realized person would give would be very humorous, isn't it? So let's make a joke out of this scenario. So the officer goes, who are you? The self-realized person says, I am who I am. So the immigration officer says, and who is this on this ID card? This is who this is. What would happen next? I don't think so. The immigration officer would be impressed. The officer would say, please step aside. Isn't it? And they go to another place where they interrogate that person. Who is Mr. XYZ? That is the identity of this body. And who are you? I'm the owner of this body. So he says, all right, we are putting you behind bars for some time. Now, if the self-realized person would get disturbed at that point of time, then the situation would have a very humorous twist, isn't it? Why are you putting me behind bars? Sir, we are putting your body behind bars. You are who you are. Isn't it? Sometimes it can be very tricky. Trying to understand a real identity can be tricky in this world. It's like trying to live through multiple identities. So the intelligence has to be really sharp to be able to do that. Like if you have your identity as a student or a child or a parent, citizen, so many identities. Isn't it? Like when people they project how important it is to serve your country above your own self-interests. They're like a soldier sacrifices various kinds of relationship in the line of duty. Or if they are trying to present the life of a soldier, they're like, who is this? This is a son or a daughter. This is a friend. This is your next door neighbor. And that is when you're wondering, my God, who was I living with? So there's so many identities. And all of these identities we have accepted with some rational thought. There are certain identities we don't accept. Like my friend, growing up, we had these very strong views. We were very, very political, and we had our own ideologies about our identity as students. Good friends. However, we had two different identities. So my friend would always be unaccepting of how I would glorify what I stand for, and I would be unaccepting of what he would glorify. So in India, after you finished your high school, in India we call it junior college. We used to call it junior college. 11th and 12th was junior college for us. So then you have to choose what your majors are going to be. Basically, we had to choose between two different streams. One was that either you become a doctor or you become an engineer. In those days, they were like diametrically opposed to each other. In our times, like doctors are useless. They have no understanding of math because doctors wouldn't study math. And doctors would be like engineers. What do they know about science, biology, human biology? Anyways, so there are identities that we accept and identities that we reject. And then if we have received some good teachings, value systems, depending upon the culture that we grow up in. Then those value systems also create an identity for us. Growing up in India, when I was growing up in India, my elders, teachers, and everyone, they would again and again remind me. They would have this phrase with which they would remind us. Maybe it became popular in some movie or something like that. However, it was a very popular phrase, and they would tell all of us youngsters. But what is gratitude? So because this is most probably from Bollywood, so this line is in Hindi. Now, what is gratitude? How we should be grateful. जिस थाली में खाते हो उसमें छेद नहीं करनी चाहिए. The literal translation, would you want to hear the literal translation in English? You should not put a hole in the plate that you're eating or eating from. And that was how you have to be grateful. What it meant was, or don't go against the hand that feeds you. Okay, value systems. So as youngsters, we took it literally, like whichever hand fed us, we would never go against it. We are like always facing towards it. Yeah, please give me more. We took that literally. Like, yeah, serving hands, look at them. Don't turn away from the hands that feed you. Now, if you grow up in a culture where there's a lot of emphasis on life after death, how your entire life is to prepare yourself for life after death. It's a completely different journey, isn't it? It's not about you looking towards how you are going to be how you would be very successful in your career. So that is not what you're looking towards. You're not looking towards where you're going to settle down. It's all about everything that you do, all your actions. There are going to be reactions to it. So be careful. Always be thoughtful, mindful. And finally, after death, there will be rewards. This is one of the most uncomfortable identities to live with. Although we would want to subscribe to it to get some, status or because of some peer pressure, you may want to subscribe to it. It is one of those identities that kind of is not so easy to adopt. That one must always be thoughtful and mindful of one's actions, thoughts, and words. Because everything goes out there in the ether and there's going to be a response. Basically, if you actually subscribe to this philosophy, you'll always be like on high alert. Because if you have to pay attention to every thought, word, and deed, you have to be not just super conscious of every action, you also have to be very, very sensitive to what is happening around you. And since it is a little trying to do that, to kind of adopt this lifestyle, somebody long back prescribed that every single day you have to bathe yourself with this, you have to bathe your consciousness or your intelligence with this knowledge of this value system. They told us, unless until you do that, it will be little difficult. So if we take up to this philosophy of, we are responsible for our actions, we are responsible for what we do, and the response will always be there. This awareness lasts a lifetime, or it has to last a lifetime. It cannot be up to the point of graduation. It cannot be, well, all the other kind of work that you put in, after some time you're like, yeah, I've done that, and this is where it ends. Beyond this, it's just further application, some tweaks here, some changes there. However, awareness of how every act of ours creates, we should be very careful of not judging others unnecessarily. It's a waste of time and energy. Like, I've eaten the entire day. I've kind of really had all these nourishing food, vitamins, minerals. And some of the energy that I get from all of that, what do? I waste it on judging people. Does it make sense? I could have used that to do something to improve my own condition in life. And add all those tiny bits of the energy that is ours, which we have for which we have put in so much effort in digesting all that food and getting all of that energy, and all that little bits of being judgmental through our 20 years of life or 40 years of life, put all of that together. It's a huge loss. We could have used all of that energy for doing so much more for ourselves. If we really feel that we have an opinion, then the first thing that we should do with that opinion is see how it benefits us. But the world being what it is, everyone is convinced that we have to sacrifice for others. So we are so opinionated that, and we have these opinions, and we feel completely justified when we say that, oh, it is for your betterment. No one ever thinks back that, all right, I want to help someone. How does that help me? No one does that. Very few people do that. When you try to help someone, you feel good about yourself. Has it really helped you other than feel good about yourself? Has it made you a little more progressive in life? That kind of analysis is rarely done because we feel that, hey, doing good is what matters in life. Please think about this very carefully. Prabhupada would, in very simple words, he would explain all of this complex subjects. He would say, everyone has to fly their own plane. I mean, you can try and help somebody else fly their own, who's flying besides you, who are flying their plane. You can let them know, hey, you do this or do that. You have to be careful that you do not put down your plane. That is what is awareness. That is what is being conscious. We cannot be involved with anyone else except ourselves because we do not have the facility to do that. That is the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita speaks about Kshetra and Kshetrajna. It speaks about the doer and the field of activity. And if we read it properly, if you have understood Purushottam Yoga nicely, we realize that all this idea that is floating around us in this present world, that, oh, you cannot have your own existence because you're dependent on this and that. After you understand all these correlations, finally it boils down to, I am only aware of what is happening in my field of activity. So whatever actions we perform, activities have to be done. It should be done with a good intent. Because if it is not done with a good intent, if it is done with any other intent, it complicates the issue much more. The issue remains very, very simple if we do it with a good intent. The reason is, when we do it with a good intent, we feel good about it. And if we are intelligent enough, then we analyze how it has helped us grow. If we are intelligent enough. So this story from the Mahabharata this is what Vidura is trying to explain to Duryodhana. But Duryodhana is like, Vidura, I have heard so many pravachans on this, forget it. And that is why you're getting to hear it again, because you haven't understood. You did attend the classes, you got your grades, GPA was 4.0. But then you're not aware of what that knowledge should mean to you. Duryodhana's GPA was 4.0. Did you know that? Or maybe better than that. He was a really smart kid. If you go back and look at his report card, very nice. I mean, no wonder he graduated from an Ivy League college. Dronacharya's Ivy League college. The best program. Duryodhana was the best in mace wielding. There were only two of them, Duryodhana and Bhima. But he couldn't understand what Vidura was trying to tell him, although he felt that he understood and he didn't think that it was relevant enough. That is the story of all of us. Yes. The Srimad Bhagavatam, when Vidura has come back from his tour, because he's heard that the war is over, Yudhishthira Maharaj has become the king, the emperor. So he comes back to Hastinapur. He's like, I have to take my brother away. I have to see that he makes something about, he kind of achieves some benefit from his human form of life. So he comes back. Yudhishthira is so happy to see him. And how does he welcome him? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this verse is very much glorified. He says, Bhavad Vidha Bhagavatas. Tirtha Bhuta. You are Tirtha. You are the holy place, the holy waters personified. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani. He says, you by your presence makes the holy waters holy. You by your presence make the holy places holy. Why? Swantasthena gadabhrit. Because within your heart you carry the Lord who has a mace in his hand, Lord Gadadhar. Yudhishthira is a little different from Duryodhana. Therefore, Vidura did not have to give many teachings to Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yudhishthir Maharaj is aware what energies are emanating from Vidura. What kind of energies? Krishna consciousness or spiritual life is not just about study of scriptures. If we have given some importance to the understanding of physical science in spiritual activities, we realize that actually this body is only a field of energy. What I and you see is energy in a particular shape and form. That's it. The various molecules that are the various cells are ultimately molecules and atoms. And the frequency at which they are vibrating is what is giving them the form of the skin, is giving them the form of the eyes, is giving them the form of the various organs. It's just a frequency. Therefore, sound affects us, light affects us. Light falls on the eyes and the frequency is created and we are like, I can see, I can see. Sound affects us. Magnetic field affects us. And we are like, really? Yeah. I drank goji water or I had goji fruits and I feel very energetic. Why? Because light energy. That is what has been captured by those fruits. And that is going to affect us. So what is energy? Energy is vibrant. Hence, when there is a lack of vibrancy within us, that is when we are casual, that is when we are low in energy, we are not focused. A child is very active, unless until the energy is depleted. A child is very active. Why? Because a child has not gotten in all these various different kinds of comprehensions about this identity and that identity. So slight, stimulation, the child is affected. Have you ever seen a child, anyone say, my child sleeps through an earthquake or an inferno? My child sleeps through all kinds of sounds. Children are very, very sensitive. A slightest of sound, the slightest of light, a slightest of vibration, and immediately they respond. Why? Because the present body that they have does not, the flow of energy, the chakras, this is Ashtanga Yoga. So that body that they have is very, very clean, very clean. Over the years, we accumulate so much of unnecessary energy, so much, especially in terms of what we call as pride, greed, anger, envy, illusion, doubt, anxiety, fear. So much of that. Thirst, pain, hunger. Like recently we had Nirjala Ekadashi. Many people who would have done that, after that they would have needed some medical attention because they went through pain. They're convincing themselves, this pain is all right. This will make me realize Krishna. Unfortunately, it has created some unhealthy energy fields. Why? There was no preparation for that phase. We just got up on the day of Nirjala Ekadashi and like, okay, today's Nirjala Ekadashi, I'm fasting. It doesn't work like that. I mean, you You buy a BMW and you think that I'm going to take it through the villages of India or Kenya. What would happen to your BMW? I mean, the luxury edition of BMW. So similarly, what we are trying to do is an intense form of detoxification. It is like the luxurious brand of fasting. And we take it on a rough ride. So somebody puts on YouTube, preparation for Nirjala Ekadashi. It goes viral. That prior day, you should only drink lots of fluids, this, that. And everyone is like, this Nirjala Ekadashi, I felt so energetic. Now spend a little more time on analysis. Why did that happen? Because you are aware that you had to do Nirjala Ekadashi on the day of Ekadashi, on the 11th day. Your awareness started on the 10th day itself. Now for people who haven't done that, whose awareness arises only on the 11th day, and they do Nirjala Ekadashi, typically a lot of them would have medical problems the next day. The body would be aching because there's so much of acidosis happened there. Where does the acid settle in? Joints, muscles. And after that, you eat sweet rice. Very good. So the body is now wondering, should I wash away all the acid that is there in all the different areas of the body, or should I absorb the nutrients from the sweet rice? So when you offer arati, when you're offering the various elements, you're creating some energy field there. If you're not aware of it, if you're not very perceptive, or if you consciously or unconsciously create a barrier, that very event could cause adverse effects. There are people who go to Aarti, and because their energy field is not very, very attuned to that energy that is created, they immediately react violently. They're like, no, take me away from this. I cannot tolerate this. And then we think that, oh, they are possessed. They have some evil. How does somebody who's been a practitioner for a long time, how does one understand that we are not doing it in a favorable way? When we are not conscious. Many times I give the example that so many devotees, they come and they tell us that we attend Mangal Aarti every day. We only realize that we are present there after the Guru Ashtakam prayers are over. And I'm like, how did that happen? Because we went in totally unprepared. You're like running. I want to be there when the darshan opens. Why do you have to run so much? Your heart is pounding, you are sweating, and then you have to go into this whole room with hundreds and thousands of people there. Can you imagine running in with a high voltage wire like that? That is what your energy field is. However, if you have prepared for it, you have woken up early and you take a casual walk and you're taking in the ambience, the early morning ambience that is there. That what would be if you observe your existence in both these scenarios, most probably you'd say that, oh, when I do that, when I am not rushed, I feel very, very motivated. However, when it's very rushed, the only excitement is I reached in time. That is only excitement. I reached in time. The reason I'm trying to explain this through certain examples is it is not easy to identify who devotees are. We go on the externals, always. And therefore, stories from the scriptures or somebody's realization. I was in Vrindavan and a rickshawala looked at me and or someone like that looked at me and said, oh yeah, I'll take you there. And on the way, I was like, do you know who's Radharani? And it's like, how don't you know? I mean, why are you asking me? And then I realized that in Vrindavan, everyone is conscious of Radharani. What? That is a realization. A boy was asking me to give some sweets, and I said, what will you do with it? And he said that I want to lessen your karma. And he's like, oh, Krishna came through this boy and is taking away the money which you ought to spend somewhere else. The boy is telling me that you spend it on a Brajavasi and you will be unloaded of your karma. And you're like, wow. Why do these stories hit us? Especially stories where we should not try to offend devotees, because once upon a time somebody was offended and they could no longer remember Krishna. Why does these stories seem so very interesting? Because we have very dull lives, a very dull existence. Therefore, the stories are like revelations for us. Let me tell you a story. A great saintly personality, two of them. They were trying to serve an acharya. So the king was envious of the acharya. So the king tortured them. And finally, the king was trying to convert them, make them give up their allegiance to the acharya. Wasn't successful. He said, and this is useless. So he ordered his soldiers, take them to the dungeons and kill them. So the soldiers who took them away, they felt pity for them. They said that, why should we? The king is, these look like saintly people. We don't want bad karma for ourselves. So we should not kill them. But what if they come back and the king finds out that we've let them go? So they said that we'll pluck out your eyes. So they plucked out their eyes and they let them go. One of them was a very old person, very old. So they're trying to go back to where their acharya was. The old gentleman could not complete the journey because his body had been so much tortured that the body could not sustain life anymore. So he fell down to the ground. Somehow his daughter also happened to be there. So she requested him that you are very close to a holy place. Please, if you want to leave your body, please leave your body in that holy place. He's like, this is the holy place. What makes a holy place a holy place? That place is holy because of the presence of the Lord, and the Lord is present there because the devotees are there. If the devotees weren't there, the Lord would be lost in the forest. Who would know about the Lord? Most of the famous temples that we know is because of the devotees. Otherwise, there have been incidences where these temples have been lost, people have forgotten, and comes along a devotee, the devotee discovers that temple, and then the world gets to know of the temple again. He says, this is the holy place, because here I am with a devotee of the Lord. I'm with the Bhagavata. So his companion takes his head and puts it in his lap, and his daughter takes his feet and puts it in her lap. And that is how he leaves his body. He gives them, but before leaving his body, he gives them very interesting teachings. I'm trying to just put it in relevant words for all of us. He says, first of all, a holy place is not different from where a devotee is. Secondly, what is the greatest reward than to have a devotee who will take care of one's final rights? And thirdly, the land where the acharyas have walked, that entire land is pure. Then he said, if we, as the followers of the Lord, believe that the mercy of the Lord is available only in one place because we have determined that place to be a holy place, and what would happen of all of those who remember the Lord but are in distant places? What about their destiny? So he gives up his body. He goes back to the spiritual world. This is a great saint, Mahapurna. He's also known as Periyanambi. Where did he learn that from? From the scriptures, from his teacher, from his own experiences in life. So awareness is very important. Not that we have to be arrogant, thinking that we know all. But the more a person has awareness, the more the person understands that body is not just material, but it is also a field of energy. And you know what energy means? It affects. We cannot stay away from the influence of energy. Unless and until we are very vibrant, will not be free from the influence of energy. So Bhavad Vidha Bhagavata, you, my dear sir, are Bhagavat. Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Prabhu. This is very, very wonderful instruction. If one understands this instruction, then one will always be enthusiastic to live the life of a servant of Krishna. Because not only the mercy of Krishna is coming through devotees, the mercy of Krishna is coming through every single atom and molecule. Krishna says, this is my energy. Amma Maya. He calls it Devi Maya. Devi energy. This divine energy of mine. For those who are lost in their own world of this is what the real understanding is, who are not trying to realize themselves as spiritual beings full of spiritual energy. Prabhupada would always say the spirit soul is the spiritual energy of the Lord. He calls it Shakti. We are the Tatastha Shakti. Unfortunately, because we are used to English words, we think soul. So soul has, we imagine the soul to be without, we do not understand how soul is actually energy, which means vibrant, which means sensitivity. It means awareness. If there's a live wire here, Do you think if I touch it, it will affect me? Sure, because there's some energy flowing to it. If there's a magnetic field here, do you think if I walk into the magnetic field, it will affect me? Sure, because there's an energy flowing through there. Similarly, spirit soul is energetic. And if we are trying to put some other dimension of understanding the spirit soul, that spirit soul is different from the body, spirit soul is spiritual, the body is material, and we have no idea what we are speaking about, we'll never realize that we are vibrant spirit souls. We'll never realize that those whom we call as devotees are vibrant spirit souls. They have vibrant energy with them. We'll only be like, okay, because you're a devotee and you're initiated, or I've seen you being a devotee, therefore I offer respects unto you, and please pray for me. And for years, we've been doing the same thing without making any progress in our understanding of that relationship. The only understanding is, I have to invite you for prasad, you have to invite me for prasad. Why? Dadati pratik rehnati. I have to tell you some secrets of my life, and you have to tell me some secrets of your life. Why? Guyam akhyati prichati. And what is the progress made? Oh, previously we were, I would go to their house on Wednesdays for prasad, and they would come on Thursdays. Now we go twice a week. We have closer relationships now. There was another devotee. Let us speak from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Leela. Yes, Chaitanya Bhagavat also, specifically in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Devotee by the name of Gadadhar. He is also the spiritual energy of the Lord, one of the Panchatattvas. He is taken by his friend Mukunda to meet a great personality. When he goes there, he's shocked. He's like, I know Mukunda has different kinds of associations, but why would he bring me to this place? Why? Because he saw this person having so many material facilities. And Gadadhar by nature was a very simple person. He could never bring himself to think of anything beyond his simple needs. It wasn't possible. Somehow that was his, his nature, his swabhava. If he had a table, he would think like, maybe this table is too big for me. All I need is a table so small, because that is where my laptop fits in. That is Gadadhar. How would someone else think as? Like if someone was not having the perspective of Gadadhar, he was like, oh, the table is so big. What else can I put on this table? Is it correct? Is it not? Yeah. What else could I have so that it occupies a space? This is custom made. We got it from Costco's. This is a smallest size that they have. Now it looks empty. So I have to go back to Costco's to get a few more things to decorate my table. Because that is how the psyche is. That is how it works. We don't like to see emptiness. True? It is, please don't take me, I'm not trying to hurt anyone here, but it took us so long after coming to Krishna consciousness. When we came to Krishna consciousness, it took us, after so many years, it took so much effort that we could bring down our altar to something simple. And over the years, as we visit Vrindavan, something adds in. Then we go to Mayapur, something else comes. Then we go to Srirangam, another thing. And after some time, after 5-6 years, you're like, it takes a lot of time in the morning, to take care of all of that. So what was supposed to be an engrossing affair, after some time seems a little burdensome. How did that happen? How did that happen? Similarly, chanting, everyone says, Mataji, Prabhuji, you're so sincere. Oh, if they are saying it must be true. So tomorrow onwards, 8 rounds. Wow. From 4 rounds, you started chanting 8 rounds immediately. It's all by your blessings. It's only Krishna's blessings. Within 2 years, 16 rounds and so many yatras. After 10 years, they're like, how to control the mind while chanting? It is still so distracted. Which is the best time? In the morning, Brahma Muhurta. Whenever I do it in the morning, the rest of the day, I feel very happy. They don't say I feel relieved. Because that is actually the feeling that many people have. How is it that we cleansed ourselves, did detox, and then again? And after 20 years, somebody comes up with the realization. I've realized that I just sit in one place. In Vrindavan, I just go and sit in this samadhi or that temple and chant around. I don't go visiting anywhere else. After 25 years, 30 years, how does that happen? Because time is not on our side. The earlier we become aware that we have this potential to be very sensitive and understanding of what options we have. The pool table, every action has a response. It creates newer and newer possibilities. And that is, as long as we are humans, we have to realize that our action does do that. So what kind of game would you play that with the minimum number of strikes, you can win the board? That requires so much of practice. Now, you could do that easily if you were the only player on the board, on the pool table. What if you had an opponent? What happens? So here we are trying to play pool with whom? With material nature made up of the 3 modes. Imagine that. We hit the red ball. She says, no, I like the blue ball also. She puts in the blue ball too. You're like, what is this? Just a red. You're like, no, penalty. Fun. So that's our opponent there. So Gadadhar sees that and he's like, what is this? This person is wearing such expensive clothes, silk, embroidery. The gentleman has a well-oiled hair, fragrant, Do men use Dior? The brand? Is it Dior? Fragrance, oils and all of that? That is what he would use. He had oiled his hair. He had applied all of these various creams. He had all these jewels on every single finger. He had spittoons. He had like a V console. All of that. And Gadadhar is wondering, Mukunda, I thought you said we are going to meet a saintly personality. Where did you bring me? He said, yeah, there's a saintly personality. And the saintly personality is welcoming the guests, is both of them reclining on a very expensive state of the art, that which is in the most recent fashion, couch. Just reclining back with this silken cushions and silken sheet. And is having some nice chewing spices, like chewing gum in his mouth. Yeah, ma'am, how are you doing? Like that. Peace. But that's how I'm trying to just recreate that scene. It wasn't the same words, but I'm just trying to recreate the scene. This is what made Gadadhar astounded. And because he was such a simple-hearted person, he knew that he wants to run away. However, just out of etiquette, he couldn't run away. And there was this tortured look in his eyes. He looked like Mukunda, like, please. And Mukunda says, like, snaps his finger, like you snap your finger and you have those AI machines around, snap the finger and something starts playing, sound activated, snaps his finger, sound activated, the Srimad Bhagavatam starts playing. Like that. Seems that Mukunda has been to this joint before. Snap. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, especially Putana. And this gentleman goes crazy. He has tears in his eyes, starts jumping up. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? He starts tearing his clothes apart. His hair is kind of just, in all directions and is like mad. He goes up to Mukunda. Do you know where is Krishna? He goes up to Gadadhar. My dear sir, can you show me where is Krishna? Gadadhar is like, everything else simply dissolves. All the golden sheets, the silver, the silk just disappears. It's like, a video game, another level. Gadadhar is like another level. He can see the emotions that his personality has. He's so affected by that. Later on, he tells Mukunda, thank you so much for bringing me to this great person, this great saint. However, within my mind, I have thought ill about him. So I need to do something about it. So he goes to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he opens up his heart to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were childhood friends. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, okay, so what do you want to do now? He says, my dear Lord, you are everything to me. I mean, my day begins with you. My day ends with you. You are the beginning, the middle, the be all and end all of my life. There's no one else that I can even think of having in my life. Still, I feel that this great personality, he can open up my world views. He can open up various different possibilities for me. Just being us, having some association with him, I had such deep realizations. So please bless me that I can accept him as my spiritual master. Whenever we have our emotions involved about a relationship, when we have some emotional investments in a relationship, and we don't go beyond those emotional investments, we may not see the big picture. Gadadhar was happy, or he felt enlivened that there is another person in his life that could reveal so many perspectives to him. So he wanted to have a spiritual master because a spiritual master would reveal various perspectives to him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy. He said, please. This is this is so wonderful that you want to accept him as a spiritual master. So that personality is Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And Kadadhar goes and seeks initiation from him. So, if we are trying to be Krishna conscious, and the reason we are trying to be Krishna conscious is because we believe that all our actions at the end would be taken into account to help us go further on our journey after death. Then we have to start being very, very conscious of what are our thoughts, words, and deeds. Especially when we come in, we have the opportunity to associate with the paraphernalia, devotional paraphernalia. It could be devotees, it could be the instruments, it could be prasad. These are all devotional paraphernalia. We should understand that all of them are suffused with the energy of the Lord. And we should try and be open enough to accept that energy and to tune into that energy. When we do that, that is when we could have our own divine realizations. When Arjuna says in the Gita, Nashta Moha Smriti Labdha, is referring to realizations because now he is vibrating in the same zone, in the same energy field, where his eternal relationship with the Lord vibrates. It's like he's in that orbital. Energy, according to science, can neither be created nor destroyed. It exists always. It can only be transformed from one form to another. So in the spiritual world, this energy transforms. How? Like the cowherd boys. At night, the transformation of energy happens where they're in separation from Krishna and thinking about Krishna, they take rest. That is called as Vipralamba. They are in that energetic field because spirit soul, including the Supreme Lord, is Satchit Anand. Chinmay means knowledge, Sat means eternal. And according to science, what is eternal? What always exists? Energy. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is called as the supremely energetic personality. Is that all right? So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Any clarifications? Yes.
Two questions. One is, you mentioned about the ARP. Is it Yadu's father?
Yeah. If you read the historical references to Yayati, he was the master of horses. There's a lot of knowledge about horses, Yayati. So it's the same person. Yes.
There was one point where you were talking in the beginning about, like, for example, you advise someone or tell someone and then you feel good about it. And then you said we should take a step further and analyze what it actually.
How did it help us grow?
Yeah. I'm trying to think how to apply this. Based on the experience, you can say, maybe you should do it this way. And it almost ends there. And I guess I feel good in some way. Maybe you want any comments on that?
Let us say that one graduates out of school. So everyone is like, congratulations, well done, especially, people feel that we've done really good. So we take in all of that glorifications. If we just stay with that, then that is all that we can, that is all that we have created out of it. Just some glorifications, and maybe 10 years from now, we'll show pictures of a graduation to someone and say, I graduated. On the other hand, if we realize that what this glorification means is that I have all of this knowledge. What do I do with it? How many of us reflect like that? Remember that sometimes we hear of those eccentric scientists. Somebody comes up to them and says, hey, your husband or your wife is dying and is taking the last breath. And he's like, tell them to wait such a little longer. Postpone their death. Because right now I'm engaged in this very much. They're engrossed in that activity. Ever heard?
Yeah.
There's so many ways this particular scientist did that, or that particular great person did that. Someone is an author, and there's another person who's come to murder him, and he says that I'm here to murder you. It's like, can you wait 15 minutes? I just finished this. Yeah. And then the story ends with what kind of effect it had on the other people around. If we could learn from such stories that if we are always in the present, what is in it for me? That is what means being in the present. Then we won't be living a life either trying to remember a past, the glories of the past, or living a life hoping for some unimaginable future. So, all right, I helped someone, and they were grateful for it. I feel happy about it. I have to still go back home and pay my bills. What has changed in my life? Has something changed in my life? Maybe not. So that is how you reflect. But what has changed? Some glorification has come, or a feeling of having helped someone and feeling good about it has come within me. What am I going to do with this feeling? How can I use this? Am I going to create an NGO? I help you NGO. Anyone can walk in and say, hey, I need help and I'm ready to help. What do I do about it? Many times when such, especially if we read the Vedic literatures, they give those life-changing stories about people who went through that experience. Suddenly they realized, why am I wasting my life? I just go to Vrindavan. You're like, oh, wow. This person they had this amazing life-changing moment. Basically, they just reflected. Yeah. Srimad Bhagavatam, the young little boy, Narada, he has a glimpse of the Lord, and then the Lord disappears. And there is just a message left for him on the cloud that this lifetime, this is all that you'll get. So what does the boy do? He could have just stayed crying. I have lost. Why did the Lord go away? And this was never taught unto me. Who should I call? Help phone a friend? Something like that. No. He was feeling the separation. He was very emotional about it. But then he just kind of tried to take samadhi. That is not how it is explained in the Bhagavatam, not in those words. So basically, that is what he did. And very soon he gave up his body. Very soon he gave up his body. So would we want to have an experience like that? That is the question. Is it worth it for us? So then we'll be very reflective. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
I just have a comment, not a question.
Sure.
I think it was very nice to hear about the energy aspect. All the talks in devotion, this circle I've heard, I've never heard anyone talk about energy and this, looking at soul in that way. Maybe it was always present when you put it in that perspective. It's good to hear that.
Thank you. We can stop? Yes, sorry.
What would be some of the key takeaways from this lecture? There's so many aspects that you touched on. I was just wondering if you can just summarize some key.
Pool table. The pool table.
So many possibilities.
Every time. And if you ever get that book, you can read that book. I think it's Gita on the Green or something. It's like a fiction novel. I read it when I was in college. I don't know why I read it, but it seemed interesting at that point of time. It's a very old book. Yeah. No, you need not. You can read the original Gita itself. As I said, Purushottam Yoga speaks about it a lot. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Anything else? Oops. So we can stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna. Oh, before you go, let me tell you a story. Sorry. I wanted to tell you the story, and I'm sorry. Very quick. So a very famous film star, movie star, in India we call them film stars. So movie star, a very well-known movie personality and actor, was on a plane. Maybe you've heard this story. And on the plane, his co-passenger, the passenger in the seat next to him, that seat was already occupied. So he saw that passenger seemed to be a little elderly gentleman, simple tastes, had a simple shirt and pant on, looked a little middle class. And the person was reading the newspaper. So he sat down in the seat next to him. And movie star, right? So the other people around him they knew him. So they're like casting glances at him. There was no selfies in those days, but like, autograph, like that. So this gentleman noticed that, however, he did not interject. So after some time, when the flight took off, movie star, so always been interacting with people. So he started interacting with them. So, sir, do you know who I am? He says, no. He's like, okay. I'm actually in the movie industry. This is good for you. Do you watch movies? Not many. Many years ago, I had watched a movie. Okay. And actually, I act. This is wonderful. That's very nice. And that's it. So they get off the plane, and he's intrigued very much that how is this person not interested in me? So the plane lands, and as they're getting off the plane, he says, oh, it was a wonderful flight, and I really liked being here with you. My name is so and so. There are references that this story is in the biography of this particular movie star. His name is Dilip Kumar. He says, I'm so and so. And the person next to him says, oh, good to meet you. I am J.R.D. Tata. Tata was at that point of time he was the Elon Musk of India at that point of time. But, Newspapers were the only tabloids you had. And he was a very simple man, so he wouldn't be much in public glare. So the comment was, whoever we are and however great we are, there's always someone greater than us. So it's okay to be humble in life. Yeah. So I just wanted to tell you that story. The reason being, I want you to remember that this story was a gist of the lecture. Everything else may be forgotten. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.